Cool. Should we open up for questions? And yeah, I mean, just a little bit of plug-in, but you guys can subscribe to our newsletter where we also talked about some of these frameworks and we talk about some of these strategies. So I'm pretty sure you will find it useful. Um, at the end, there is some gift from us, but before that, let's open up for questions.
Hi, can I ask some questions?
Yeah, of course.
Sure. So I'm very interested when you mentioned that large language model as a reasoning thing. So I was just curious. Like instead of using it as a generative stuff, like what part of large language reasoning step is useful here?
Yeah. So as Keith was also mentioning, right? Like we can talk about hyper personalization, we can talk about account research and prioritization, right? But all of this requires a ton of work because you have to first of all, let's take an example. Say you have to reach out to an account, say Cisco, right, or Oracle. Um, and they are a large company. They do tons of things, right? And I don't know what you do, but suppose you sell like a recruitment software, right? Then what you're looking for in Oracle is completely different from what a sales tool like us is looking for in Oracle, right? Now, my team will do a research on the same data in a very different way versus your team, right? So AI today, especially any technology beyond GPT-4, and Llama, and all these LLMs also have very great reasoning abilities. So they can look at that data and tell you that, hey, you can use this data like this to reach out to Oracle, and it will give me a very different analysis and tell me that, hey, you can use this data this way to reach out to Oracle. So that's how we see that, this is going to help a lot.
So do you use like large language model to get those data? Like is it like proprietary data you buy from somewhere?
Very interestingly, like most of this data is already available, right? There are news articles. It's all about keeping a track of different keywords, keeping a track of different sources of data, right? Like news, their blog post, their solutions page, their 10K reports, earnings call, right? There is ton of data. Just that, before LLMs, you would have to maybe hire someone from BCG or McKinsey to do this analysis for you, and it would be pretty expensive and one time. You can now do this all the time at maybe 1/10 of the cost.
Well, why needing McKinsey? I'm just so curious. Like, what kind of special thing they offer?
That's a good question. I don't know. But maybe you would need an analyst in your team, right? To look at all this
Yeah.
data. Or like top 0.1% salespeople actually already do that. But that requires a ton of effort and understanding.
Oh, got it. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, my name is Anshuman. I head the sales of Smart. So we are a Zoom Info competitor, similar in line with Apollo and Russia, what you spoke about. Guys, I have one question. So we spoke about different kind of email templates, but what about the subject line? What kind of subject line really works? That's the first question which I have. And the second one is how will know how much is too much? Because like my guys will send mails, will do kind of omni-channel outreach, but how much is too much?
So
I'll
I'll
correct one
quickly.
thing, and then I'll yeah, let Keith speak. But and Hamish, my only thing is we didn't talk about templates today. We actually talk against templates today. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I quite frankly, how do I pronounce your name?
Superman.
Anshuman.
Superman, sorry, Anshuman. Yeah, the similar
Anshuman.
way how you absolutely. Go ahead, please.
Anshuman. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely meeting
Basically,
you.
in answer to your question, what the subject line is, keep it as simple as you possibly can. Don't put their name in it. Don't do any dynamic field. Make it look as boring as possible. 2 words max. Short words. Keep it like 6, 7 characters long. The next point is how many emails to send. I mean, you got to look at your DMAX settings. You got to look at your domain health, all those things. I personally don't think you should even be emailing off your main domain because you're just going to hurt it. You're just going to damage it. You're just going to blacklist yourself. Otherwise, like 50 cold emails max a day per person.
Gotcha. And what kind of metrics do your team follow, Hamish? In terms like when you're going to target, probably if you're going to target the West Coast or the East Coast, or probably the entire United States, if you're sending 100 mails in a day, what kind of response do you elicit from those? Probably like it's similar for your LinkedIn, similar for your call.
I mean, it depends. It depends the quality. Are you asking me personally?
I know you are an expert, so probably like I can get some insight from you and probably a little bit about your team as well.
Yeah. So basically, what you're looking at doing is beating the status quo, and the status quo right now is like 1% response rate. The open rate is important, but realistically, the response rate is the only thing that you should be looking at. If you can get a response rate up between more than 10%, you're doing a very, very, very good job. Like
Gotcha.
that's honestly, even nowadays, like if you're sending 100 emails a day and you're getting 10 responses that are not like F off responses,
I think
then
that's
it's good. And then the other one is the open rate, because if you're getting a good open rate, that means they're not going to spam. The open rate tends to be something that tells you exactly whether or not something's going into spam or not.
Yeah. Rabi, what do you think? How do you have improved? Because you were not getting any kind of response earlier, and right now you're getting some kind of response out there, correct? So, what's your take on this?
How do you improve those rates?
No, how he has seen it improving over a period of time. Because you
you're
were
asking
mentioning
your
earlier.
speed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Because you
okay.
mentioned through
Yeah,
emails you were not getting any kind of response earlier, but probably right now you're getting some kind of response, correct?
yeah. I mean, going back to fundamentals, as we said, like that's all we talked about, right? First was, actually hyper personalization, not sending. I mean, we can never send 100,000 emails. So that's like, Jeremy, you are a pro. I mean, so yeah, going back to those fundamentals, hyper personalization and not just templatization, right? Like hi and name and like saw that you went to this college or this company, right? Not that, like really personalizing it to the person. The second is like learning more about the accounts and actually associating a problem that the account or the industry is facing. And like that's why some of these frameworks have really helped us. The interesting thing about frameworks is that you really have to do the hard work to use the frameworks. You cannot just put it as a template. And so if you are interested, Anshuman, like as we said, like just send us 5 of your prospects and accounts, and our team, and then I'll also reach out to both Keith and Hamish to check those things, and we'll send you some examples based on your real accounts.
Sure, Rabi, I'll do that.
All
as
right,
soon as
Steve. I
possible.
gotta run to a 3 p.m.
Thank you, Hamish.
I'll
Thank you so much.
see you later.
Yeah.
Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Bye.
Sure. Bye.
We'll keep it open for like 2 more minutes, right, Keith? If you're okay, and then we'll jump.
Yep, I've got to jump in probably about 30 seconds for a 3 as well. The one thing I would also say about open rates is with Apple's privacy protection that's on like all iOS devices, you could think you're getting a lot of great open rates, but it's really in the background. It goes and basically, I don't know the exact, I'm a sales guy, not a technical guy, but basically makes it look like the emails are open, but it's really not being open. So back to what Hamish was saying, I really focus on response and reply rates more than open rates. Still important, but not as important as what they used to be.
Great. Okay, I think we are at time. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll share this presentation with all of you, and this gift. So if you want to share your accounts and prospects with us, feel free to do that, and we'll get back to you with real examples on how to do the outreach.